and asked him whether that clip was at the crux of what the film was trying to say.
Well, that was the reason that I wanted to write the film, really, because there's a sort of view at the moment that everybody's opinion is equal, and as if it's an argument to be able to say, well, that's my opinion. And so you say something and then somebody says something else. And obviously this has been encouraged by the internet, this idea that you can just assert things and that it's a false kind of democracy to say that everybody's opinions are equal. Not everybody's opinions are equal. Those opinions that are backed up by fact and provable fact are superior to the opinions of those that are not backed up by fact. And that's really what I wanted to write about.
That trial at the time pretty much killed Irving's reputation from what I remember. He was never taken seriously again. But I wonder if you think in this age he would still thrive, that we have become more accepting of untruth.
Personally, I don't think the internet is significantly changing things. I think that at the time he walked into a trap. In other words, he thought that it was his idea to bring the lawsuit. It was always felt, people kept accidentally calling Deborah Lipstadt the prosecution, but she wasn't the prosecution, she was the defendant. He chose to take it to court, and he did that thinking that his deliberate manipulation of the truth would not be revealed in court. But by a rather wonderful process, thanks to Anthony Julius, the solicitor, and Richard Rampton, the brilliant counsel, they actually proved not just that he was lying, but they also managed to prove his motivation for lying.
This is in the 90s, in a pre-Twitter age. I think it was Hugo Rifkin who wrote this week, "Truth is a matter of clicks. When we stop concentrating, this is how we understand the world. If enough people behold a thing, it becomes true." Do you sense that is what we're entering now?
I'm a little bit resistant to all this. In other words, people are saying that Donald Trump is a liar, and clearly he is a liar. He says things that are not true. But there have been a whole series of American presidents who've said things that are not true. Nixon wasn't overly fond of the truth. Reagan claimed to know nothing about Iran-Contra. He claimed not to know that America was financing terrorism in Central America. Bill Clinton was a liar as well. Lying in politics is not a new thing.
The majority of presidents, let's say, have told a lie in office. Is there a difference, though, if the media, if broadcasters know at the time that something is a lie? Should they strive for balance, or should they call it out as a lie? Should they go for fairness?
They have to call it out as a lie. Look, what was unusual about Irving was, that he claimed that the mistakes he had made in the book Hitler's War, and, historians working for the defense found 25 mistakes of fact in the book, but they all tended one way. In other words, and what Richard Rampton was able to do was to prove that there was a motivation for the mistakes in the book. Some historians got upset and said no book can survive this kind of scrutiny. And the answer of the defense was, no, all historians make mistakes, but if all their mistakes head in one direction, and that direction is the exoneration of Adolf Hitler for the death of the Jews, then you have to say that they aren't mistakes, they are deliberate distortions. And that's what was so brilliant about a trial.
Getting back to the film and the way that portrays the trial is very much about passion versus, if you like, rationality. American versus British. You have these rather buttoned up British lawyers and the American academic who wants to do it with her heart and they want to do it with logic. Was that pretty much how the trial itself was, or was that something that you wanted to bring into the script?
Deborah Lipstadt was forced not to give evidence. Not only was she not allowed to give evidence by her own defense team, but also the survivors of the camps were not allowed to give evidence. And I think I have a line about where Richard Rampton says, what feels best isn't what works best. And so the film's about the difference between self-righteous feeling and strategy.
And would you take that into the political sphere now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that clearly Hillary Clinton lost against Donald Trump because she had no strategy for dealing with him.
David Hare, thank you. That's pretty much it for tonight, but we leave you with the work of the YouTube channel Bad Lip Reading, who watched the inauguration on some pretty strong drugs. Good night.
I'm important.